So when we're focusing on that problem, I got to shift that problem. That problem's still there. I'm going to take a workshop on that problem. I got this problem over here. How am I going to solve that problem? That person knows the answer. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to take a workshop, problem every day. We're actually fueling it. And we can see it clairvoyantly. It goes from a little gray blob to like a watermelon size to like all of a sudden there's this huge, almost insurmountable energy. Hey,
what's
Coach
up,
Paul?
Julia?
Coach Paul, good to be here in the house. Thank you for inviting me. I am a clairvoyant and spiritual development coach, and I help highly sensitive people, intuitives, to overcome sensitivities and to thrive. So a lot of times, we're going to talk about at the summit too, of mindset and so forth. So you get the right tools, you get the right implementation, but there might be a limiting belief sitting there. So we'll get into that some on the summit, and we'll actually do an exercise on how to clear that so you can be more you. That's my job.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love the fact that maybe let's have you actually kind of share how did we first meet?
Oh, in prison.
Yeah, we met in prison.
I don't get to say that very often. Let me just censor that. Yeah, we met in prison.
Tell everyone about that, because I don't think they believe that you were in the same prison I was at.
Yeah, I go in there. I go in there several times a year. I take music. I'm a professional musician. Also, I play drums. Part of my story too. And I go in with bread and roses most of the time, and we're taking music into places, hospitals, institutions, places where people cannot get access to humanities, music and art. And it's always uplifting, I think probably I met you, if not other times. I played in the church, but also out in the yard on the Day of Peace. Yeah. So I think it's like and you probably know the story better than me, obviously, on the Day of Peace and how that came to be, but it's just like, that's right up my wheelhouse. Day of Peace, it has music all day. And there's a lot of helpers for us coming in. I love it because I just walk in with a pair of drumsticks, and the guys have everything set up, and they're like ushering you in, like, what do you need? Whatever you need, like, come on, have a seat here. Here's some water, and it's just really inviting. It's really uplifting.
Absolutely. I love it. And I love that you do that, right? I love, because there's not a lot of people, there's not a lot of human beings on this earth that are willing to go into prison and be of assistance to those in need, because in reality, a lot of people that are in prison are just there because they've made some poor decisions. They've been led astray and they don't know better, right? Not everyone in prison is a horrible human being, but we begin to believe we're horrible human beings, and then we continue to take action on those thought processes.
Yeah, I actually took a meditation class in there too. My training is clairvoyant development, which is just really learning how to open up your own natural abilities to see and know truth. And I brought that in with a kind of covert title, just call it meditation. But it was amazing. I mean, the guys that come in there, they are ready to transform. It's really impressive.
Absolutely. And the crazy thing about it is the guys that are in there that are really ready to transform, they're going to do the work, right? And it's been shown that those that do the work come out and sometimes are some of the most successful human beings possible, because
like you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? Like, they're few and far between, but those that come out and take action on the things they've learned or acquired while incarcerated, on a positive tip.
My word for the year is transformation.
Ooh.
So looking ahead at the year, it looks like a lot of change and growth going on. So, but what happens when there's change and growth? One of the things that old patterns have to come up, and they go, do you want to keep doing that? Keep doing that? Keep doing that? Or do you want to let that go and move into transform into something else? So while you think transform, all right, I'm going to be a butterfly. Yay. Well, sometimes the gunk has to come out first. So heads up, everybody. Don't be afraid of it. It's something new coming out of it.
Got it. So when you say that this is your word for the year, like, are you looking for a specific transformative experience or transformation that you're trying to focus on throughout the year?
I want to be more my authentic self. And doesn't everyone?
Yeah.
right? Because how much of the time have we spent trying to please someone else, trying to be something on like the Instagram person, or to be some hero out in the world, rather than being what's my actual skill set that I can offer to people. And I think in being and transforming, sometimes, like I was saying, it's letting go of those old personality ideas, like I need to please everybody, or I need to be the good girl, the bad boy, or whatever it is. And a lot of times that can be an attraction towards the hero thing, or sometimes it's a it's like resistance. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that. We actually take it with us with that
Yeah.
resistance. But yeah, being more our authentic self and offering that to the world. That's where I'm at.
I love that. I love that so much. And it's crazy that you mentioned that because just literally 2 days ago, I was with my client and her daughter. My client's dealing with some injury, so we can't like work out super crazy, but we're keeping her moving. And she had her daughter in town, so I took them. We just went on a very vigorous walk up some hills. Like I'm just like pushing them up the hill, like walk faster, like just keeping the body moving. Because sometimes like a lot of people think, oh, I'm injured, so I can't exercise. No, you just got to change it up so that you can be more efficient with it, right? So we're walking, and this is literally the conversation we were having, right? And so we were talking about like me, my story, my past experience, right? And she was like, kind of like asking me like, why do I feel recently, especially over the last like, I want to say 18 months, I've really picked up a lot of momentum. And that's because I'm diving deeper and deeper into my true authentic self.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you're sharing that with people. I think that's going to really help them transform from the inside out and keep it moving in the direction you do want. When I'm reading energy with people and they're stuck on something, say maybe it shows up when I'm looking at them like a gray ball of energy here, and it says you're a loser, or you're no good. That's a ball of energy. It's not who the person is, but if it's here, they might think it's there. And maybe it's back to 12 years old, that got put in place when they were 12 years old. If people spend, like you have 100% of your energy and you're spending 56% of your energy focused on that problem every day, it's going to grow. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. If we can shift that focus to more who we really are, then that's going to grow. That's going to get bigger. And it's like that naturally makes the other part shrink when we're becoming more who we really are. So when we're focusing on that problem, I got to shift that problem. That problem's still there. I'm going to take a workshop on that problem. I got this problem over here. How am I going to solve that problem? That person knows the answer. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to take a workshop, problem every day. We're actually fueling it. And we can see it clairvoyantly. It goes from a little gray blob to like a watermelon size to like all of a sudden there's this huge, almost insurmountable energy that's become our life, but that's not who we are. It's an energy sitting there that's vibrating, and we think it's us. We have to shift the focus. Who are we really? A kind-hearted person who loves to give, who loves to help people, who loves to guide others, who loves to light the way. Maybe some people are good at transforming. Some people are good at language, at uplifting people through speech. We all have some little gift that's like the easiest thing in the world for us to do, and we don't even realize, hey, that's your superpower.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, so we did a podcast episode yesterday with Andrea Lynn, right, who's also one of our speakers at the event. She's actually coming all the way from Texas to come speak at the event.
All right.
And it's cool because she was just talking about that, right? And she was just talking about like people need to lean into their strengths, you know, and a lot of people don't, and when we were at the mastermind event, that was one of the things they asked us, what is our superpower? I know that you're, where are you? You're in Marin, right?
I'm in Marin. Yeah. But most of readings healings are all over. I teach. I had people in Australia last night, or Europe, or whatever. I mean, Zoom through the COVID really didn't affect me that much. It actually kind of helped outreach to reach more people. Because there's a lot of sensitive people out there, and they're going, I feel different. I don't feel like I belong. They're picking up extra things. They don't know what to do with it on sensitivity levels. And it's just about getting training. And so getting out there. That's why I joined the mastermind, to find my people, help them transform, find that mindset of discovering who they really are.
And so I wanted to kind of, like hear a little bit about your story. Like you've already talked a bit about how you're helping other people become better. How are you becoming better, Julie? How have you gone through your life experiences and become a better human being yourself?
Thank you. Yeah, well, I grew up in the South and I was very sensitive, I was picking up a lot of information around me and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't have anybody to talk to about that. And so it left me feeling just agitated and angry and like I don't fit in and like, what in the world am I doing here? I don't understand why I would see one behavior or I would hear one thing, but I knew there was something else going on. And maybe in the South, there's a pattern of, oh, you look so pretty, but I knew, oh, that person thinks my haircut's dumb, or something like that. They would present one thing, but you don't have to be psychic to know there's something else going on. And so I was really conflicted and confused about this whole game. And I just remember growing up being really agitated and angry, and I didn't know why. And I would play my drums really loud, just as loud as I could. I got all into drums for a long time, drinking too much beer and playing in rock clubs as I got older. I actually finished my music degrees. I was just all about music. I did a master's and everything in that, but then still playing, and I moved out to California and playing in clubs and stuff. I'm still trying to shut out the noise that's in my head. The noise I found out much later was an awareness of like other people's emotions, other people's thought forms, all this kind of upper level frequencies of information.
Yeah.
It's the same. Like you've been in line at a supermarket and like the person behind you is not touching you, but you feel like you're getting pushed and it's kind of agitated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's felt that, right? That's clairsentience, where you feel energy. Well, I had that on overload, and growing up, it just felt like being in a crowd, going to a funeral, or all that stuff was just like pins and needles everywhere. And actually, San Quentin reminded me a little bit of pins and needles, of kind of a low agitation. There was an upliftment of people really changing their lives and stuff, but there was some kind of safety part too. But anyway, the pins and needles growing up was like picking up everybody else's emotions and stuff. And I try to drown it out. Pro tip: doesn't work with loud drums, doesn't work with beer or alcohol, or whatever. People are into drugs and stuff now. Different story. So I knew I wasn't being me. I even remember telling somebody, I'm not being me. And he was a yoga teacher. And I thought, oh, this is somebody closer to where I really want to communicate.
Yeah.
And I ended up put the beer aside and I started meditating. And the second I started meditating, some books and some people came into my lives that answered questions that I had all along. And I've been in this kind of training. I started in a prior training that was meditation as service to humanity. And then I got into this clairvoyant training, and I never would have thought I was clairvoyant as a kid. I knew I was picking up all kinds of stuff, but I would never have called it that. And I got into the training. I'm like, this is the funnest thing ever. And I'm reading the Harry Potter books and I'm going, I'm at Hogwarts. I was at a psychic school at the time. I'm like, I finally found my people and my place. And it was only natural to start teaching after doing that. So that was in the 90s that I made that shift. I didn't put down drumming till I still drum, but
Nice.
putting down the bad behaviors of I was really eating bad and drinking beer every day and going, why is my life miserable? Well, I'm contributing to it and I'm not being me at all. Today, I'm totally being me. I still need to fine tune some things in diet and exercise. But by being me, it was like natural to teach. I've always been a teacher. And I love that. It's my favorite thing to help other people wake up to who they really are. We shed the beliefs that, what's interesting, Paul, too, is so much of the time when I'm reading people, we get stuck like between 0 and 7 years old, some kind of pattern that we learned as a really young kid. Here's a popular one. You're useless. That might not be what's said, but that was the belief system that we took on as a kid. And it's stuck, and we're trying to solve it when we're 14, solve it when we're 22, solve it when we're 33, whatever. and or some people want to overcome it. But finding those limiting beliefs is one of my favorite things to help people. Like, let's just pull that out of there. It's not who you are. It was a belief from back then that's still affecting today. And each time I read people or work with people, it's like I get to really learn and understand that much more about myself, about society, and everything. It's fascinating. Like reading somebody's like picking up a new novel. It's so fascinating. You don't know where it's going, what's going to happen.
I love that. I really love that you were talking about when you talked about the experiences we have as children, and we don't really realize it at that point in time. And it's really not until later on when we actually do some work on ourselves that we can start to realize that these feelings arose a long time ago as we were children. You know, I'm currently writing my book, right? The goal is to have the book finished and published before the end of the year. It's one of my big goals for the year. So I'm excited about that, right? And so like, I'm breaking down my childhood and talking about like my mom's drug addiction and my dad's, you know, verbal and physical abuse upon us as a way of discipline. And, you know, I didn't realize until I really started doing some work on myself, right? Actually doing internal work and working through, you know, traumatic experiences that this feeling of unworthy of love and unworthy of someone caring about me and taking care of me, right? This level of unworthiness was attached to my spirit at a very young age, because the two people that were supposed to love me the most had their own demons they were fighting, their own situations, right? Not that they were bad people, that they just had their own demons they were fighting. And while they were fighting their demons, I took it on that I wasn't lovable, that I wasn't worthy of love, that I wasn't worthy of whatever they should have been giving me, or I thought, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
and it carried me through most of my life with that thought process, right? And it wasn't until I started doing work on myself, you know. And it's just like you just said about, you know, being young and feeling like you're not useful, you're useless, right? And these things we tell ourselves, and we don't really even understand or realize it until life shows up later on. And unfortunately, most people will never actually do the work to figure this out, and most people will never change.
Yeah, but you can be a guiding light. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're not ready now, maybe they will be later, and they'll see that light to go find their answer. You know, the one thing that comes up like 95% of the time in reading people, in working with them, is a limiting belief: not enough. I'm not enough. Not tall enough, not short enough, hair's not curly enough, not straight enough, not smart enough, just not enough, whatever, fill in the blank. There's like 95% of people I work with, not everybody, but some level of not enough belief. And we try to power through it sometime. But like you, if you're willing to go in and dig in and to find that root, it's like if you go out in the garden and if you just pull out the top of a weed, it's going to grow back. Yeah. But if you dig out the root, then you're done with it. And you can go plant something else, have another experience. So yeah, digging out those roots is really important. I was actually working with a person one time and, you know, kind of scanning. I said, well, there's some energy in the leg there that's like all knotted up. He said, yeah, I had 3 surgeries. And the doctor said, I'll never walk properly again. He's an athlete. And I looked at it and I'm reading the energy, I said, well, it's about love. There's a limiting belief picture. It's this brown color. It looks like this, and it's knotted around like a pretzel. And it says, you don't get to have this love. It's like, this is a love that you can't have. And I said, here's the age you were. Here's what's going on. And he went, oh, I know exactly who that was. And that's right. It was not allowed. You know, the Capulets and the Montagues, or whatever situation was, not allowed. You cannot love that person. And so there was a belief that you can't have love from that time. And it sat there, and it got into a literal knot in the leg so much that it had to have 3 surgeries. We released the picture on there because he was willing to forgive. He was like, yeah, oh, I get it now. Yeah, that was, I thought it wasn't allowed, and probably it wasn't a good idea. I don't know, but I can forgive myself, you know. And he really did. And that unleashed the knot, and he could walk again. He started doing martial arts again. And I mean, it was amazing where we hold limiting beliefs on ourselves and we don't realize. I mean, it seems like not a big deal at the time you have this relationship. Oh, that's long forgotten. I've had all these relationships since then. But it's the belief we put towards ourselves. What did I believe about myself? I don't get to have love.
Absolutely. And that's why they're called self-limiting beliefs, right? They're limiting our ability to move forward in any area of our life. And it's crazy because, like you just mentioned, like a self-limiting belief was literally stopping this individual from performing his body physically.
When you were telling the story about making the leap of faith, putting the $3,000 towards your training, I did the same thing in the spiritual realm. I knew I needed to get spiritual training.
Yeah.
I knew it was with this special group. It's like $2,500 or something. I'm like, I don't have that sitting around. But I said yes, and I signed the paper. Money dropped in. Not only enough to pay the tuition, but enough to buy a big motorcycle to drive me there and back, because it was an hour drive up and down Devil's Slide. I'm like, oh, I can make the Devil's Slide, curve, 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 curve. Or you get on a motorcycle and you're like, wee. So it once I said yes, the universe was like, you are fully supported. This is on your path. I mean, that's different than saying yes to, I want that Lamborghini. Does that serve my path? No, not one bit of my path to have a Lamborghini. I need a car with a hatchback for my drums. That doesn't make any sense. But if it's on my path, taking this class and being part of that, then boom, I said yes. And then the universe said, well, here's the money you need. Boom. Plus a fast bike to get there.
I do want to make sure that we give everyone in the audience an opportunity to know where you're at, to go follow you on your social media handles, to reach out to you with any questions. Can you go ahead and drop your social media information here?
Yeah, you can see 𝗖𝗟𝗪𝗢.com is the website. So socials, I'm on Facebook, Julia Harrell, Spiritual Guide. I'm on Instagram, same thing, Julia Harrell, Spiritual Guide. I have a new TikTok channel. I don't even remember it. But if you go to the website, it'll get you there. I've got a free class on the website. So you can start there. And a YouTube channel, same thing, Julia Harrell, Spiritual Guide.
Awesome. And don't forget, Julia Harrell is going to be one of our speakers at the Becoming a Better You Summit, February 17th from 10 to 12:30 in Castro Valley. Tickets are on sale right now. Look, if you're watching this right now or you're watching on the replay, reach out now because the tickets are going fast.
Awesome.
Yeah, Julia, I appreciate you. This is going to be amazing. I appreciate you and hope that you have an amazing rest of your day.
Thanks, Paul. Great to be here. Bye, everybody.
Wow.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up and be sure and subscribe so you get the next one. Meanwhile, here's a couple more videos.